For the sixth and final pick of the Week 7 Sunday six-pack, I am going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-point favorites on the road, facing the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'll be the first to say, Raiders playing well this year. I will also be the first to say, don't let the loss of Trent Brown go understated, because this Raiders offensive line, when it's on, it's on. But he's a key piece there at right tackle. They love to run on the right side, and he came back against KC, and it was everybody talks about the narrative was like, hey, Kansas City offense, we got to change the way we play. You kind of being reckless there, but the Raiders put up 40 points in that game, and it was no surprise that Trent Brown being back, for his first healthy game all year was, that happened at that point, and that was impressive. But now he goes on a COVID list, and you're going against the number one defense in the league, a defense that showed that Aaron Rodgers is still who we thought he was, which is a great quarterback when he doesn't face pressure, or at least teams that can get pressure without always bringing a blitz. So I think Derek Carr, he's been playing a lot better this year, really grasping that offense. But I think this is a tough spot for them. Tampa, even coming off the bye, because the trends favor the favorites coming off the bye, especially on the road. Not as much in terms of the when you have an underdog in that spot. And I think that the Brown news, which broke a little earlier today, we're recording this on a Wednesday night. I think that was big. I actually bet it before that at 2.5. It's at 3 now. I suspect it'll probably go the other way here, because I think that's a big, big loss. And Tampa Bay is actually the number one team in DVOA in the league, like just in overall DVOA. Vegas, number 21. So they have some impressive wins on the resume. New Orleans, Kansas City, they're a giant killer. So, hey, maybe the Bucs are next, but I'm not buying it. I think if the Raiders are still getting a little bit overrated because of the teams that they beat, but they go to Buffalo. Buffalo comes in there and they can't beat Buffalo, and they can't run the ball against Buffalo, which was kind of surprising. And I think Tampa Bay, a team that can take away your run game, and even without Vita Vea, who we talked about, is probably worth like a point to that defense. But man, do they have guys flying around in this defense? White and JPP and Levante David was ridiculous against Green Bay. I just think it's going to be a tough spot for the Raiders, especially when they don't have their O-line intact. So was also thinking about betting the Vegas team total under. It's a pretty high total game. I don't know if it's warranted for the Raiders. I think the Bucs will put up some points, but I'm expecting a convincing Bucs win here. I think you disagree with me though, so tell me why I'm wrong.
I did before, but it's tough now. This game might get canceled, to be honest. They sent all their offensive linemen home today. All offensive linemen are near each other all the time, so we'll see who tests positive. Richie Incognito is also not back. Trent Brown's not going to play. Richie Incognito would have been big against going up against Sue. We didn't get to see. I still want to see how much of a loss Vita Vea is. Last week, you didn't really get to see it because, the Packers went down and scored right away, and then Aaron Rodgers just threw a bunch of pick six, and then they had to throw it. And I want to see how elite the Bucs run D still is, because Vita Vea just is so good, and he also can generate pressure from the middle, but he just takes up bodies to free up those linebackers. And they signed Steve McClendon, and they have some guys who might be able to help, but I still want to see more time to see how much of an adjustment down it is. Levante David might be the best linebacker in football right now. Dean is elite. Carlton Davis, their corners are legit, and Winfield's playing well at safety. This might be the best defense in the NFL.
I told you that secondary, man. Watch that secondary. I know you had your questions about them.
Yeah, I wanted to see if there was some regression, and the level is not dropping. But situationally, it's a bad spot for Tampa. Mm-hmm. They're coming off this huge win. The Raiders are coming off of a bye. But now you're sending all these guys home. The offensive line, which is your strength, isn't there. Carr's been really good. He's number one in the NFL in deep passing, too. They're actually taking more shots now, which I like. And, but Edwards still isn't going to play. The defense is still really bad. So I was going to look at the Raiders over 3, but there's so many question marks now with this offensive line and the COVID stuff, and they're just not fully healthy. The one thing that there's something that I'm still trying to look into, and it's about circadian rhythm. There's been a bunch of articles written about East Coast teams traveling to the West Coast to play a primetime game from like 1970 to like 2012, which where all the studies are done. These East Coast teams have been awful on the West Coast at primetime compared to the afternoon. Like, it was just free money to play them. But over the last like 10 years, it's not really mattered. So our teams, and just in general, maybe the market has priced it in. Teams are also getting smarter about travel. So, over the last 10 years also, the West Coast team traveling east for that 1 o'clock kick, you used to be able to fade them, 20 years ago and make money, but there's no longer an edge there. So I don't think there's anything to it, but that used to be a big thing way back in the day. The Bucs D is legit. Brady has his weapons now. He should be able to move the ball against the Raiders. I don't hate the under or the team total under with the Raiders. Both these teams play on the slower side. And if the Raiders don't have a fully healthy offensive line, it could be a long night.
I mean, I think this is an interesting week for kind of picking your spots with narratives and overreactions. It kind of feels a little bit like week 2, week 3 overreaction week, because I find myself in most of the spots that I was backing teams last week, I'm selling Pittsburgh. I'm backing Green Bay. I'm backing Cleveland, after fading them last week. But Tampa Bay is the one team that I'm going back to. And I think that it's interesting that like Aaron Rodgers reverts to who he always was, which is a great quarterback when he's clean. But just at this point, they don't have enough weapons to beat good defenses that can get pressure. And, that never changed. They just had an easy schedule to start the year. But at the same time, it's like Green Bay goes up 10-0 in this game. Aaron Rodgers has been playing out of his mind. He's still Aaron Rodgers. They have Devontae Adams. I know their tackle goes down, Bakhtiari, and, that a little concerning, even though I do like Green Bay against the Texans. But no one's talking about the fact that they held this team scoreless for the last 3 quarters. I mean, you get a pick 6 and Green Bay gets the ball back. It's not like when you get a pick 6, it's not like that should make the other team scoreless. They get the ball right back. And, Aaron Rodgers has his first, multi-interception game in forever. He never does that. And I don't think people are talking enough about that. Like that's impressive when you have a team that's you're kind of in your prevent mode. You're up big, you're up 28-10 in the second quarter, and you don't allow a point in the second quarter and the second half. Like this is an extremely good team. They caught a bad break against Chicago, but I think this defense, I love to get them as this short favorite here, because I think it's just a matter of the Vegas Raiders, getting good wins at the right times. If they had beat, let's say, Buffalo and New England, I guess, would have been impressive. But like if they had beat Buffalo, which they probably should have, or had a better chance to, then, instead of KC or maybe New Orleans, I think this line is closer to like 5. And I don't really think there's much difference in this Vegas team either way. And no O-line, struggles on the O-line. So, yeah, give me Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa held Green Bay. They had 69 nice interception return yards in the second quarter. 69 interception return yards, and they held Green Bay to 5 total yards of offense. 5.
Hey, remember when I said this Tampa team kind of reminds me of the Niners last year, when it was around this time where I started feeling like, hey, like this team has a Super Bowl defense. And in the Niners, it was the same narrative for the Niners. They go to play Aaron Rodgers, and everyone's kind of like, because like that was a head scratching line. The fact that it closed at 3 in favor of the Packers. I know we were both on the Bucs, and I think we both had the Bucs favored, if I'm not mistaken, in our projected spreads, which are up on actionnetwork.com. But that line closes at 3 in the Packers' favor, and it just didn't make any sense. But it just kind of has that same feel where people are sleeping on just how elite this Bucs defense is, maybe because it's been so long since the Bucs were good on defense. But remember, this was a team that was top 5 in defense DVOA last year. Even with Jameis, throwing picks all around the yard and putting them in tough spots. This defense rose to the challenge. So I'm going to back Tampa. Yeah, I'm backing Tampa while I can. Well, I still can. Like, we might not be able to get Tampa as like one of these short road favorites against a mediocre, solid team, but a little banged up. But, we might not be able to get this later in the year. So I think it's a good spot for Tampa.